Doge and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza.
This is Gaza. And today, lives are being lost. With just a small donation, we can supply condoms to the people of Gaza to save lives. Each year, millions of goats die needlessly of AIDS. And with your help, we can save them. So dig deep into those pockets today, as today might be their last.
This is absolutely bonkers. Doge has uncovered 50 million US tax dollars that were set aside to send domes, not those kind of domes, rubbers, to Gaza. And it's going to blow your mind when you find out exactly what they were being used for. That's your tax dollars if you're an American. And this is absolutely bonkers. Trump is getting so much done, it's hard to keep up with, including having his ICE raid start yesterday, his, and all sorts of other stuff that people are melting down about. Let's get into the news. Huge shout out to everyone who's been tuning in live Monday through Friday over on Quartercast. If you are a YouTube only viewer, I'll leave the channel linked in the description below. We're trying to push for 100,000 subscribers. Otherwise, ideally, you'll download the Rumble app and watch us on Rumble. But here, let's go to this first. Trump blocks staggering foreign aid projects. $50 million for condoms for Gaza and trans operations in Colombia. Why were we doing that? Joe Biden's use of U.S. taxpayer money to fund trans operas in Colombia and trans comic books in Peru will be totally undone by Trump, a top Republican told DailyMail.com. Foreign House Affairs Committee Chairman Brian Mast has a laundry list of Biden-era State Department programs that are on the chopping block now that Trump is in the White House. After a bombshell report came out this week unveiling how the Biden State Department doled out $15 million worth of taxpayer funds to buy contraceptives like condoms for the tallies. DailyMail.com asked Mast what the other eye-popping programs that were existing, what other programs existed. $47,000 for a trans opera in Colombia. That was a real one, he revealed. A trans comic book. We're trying to get our hands on the actual comic book in Peru. He continued, and heard it's reasonably risque. I wonder if it even exists. The Peruvian trans comic book program received $32,000 of American taxpayer money under former Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt also announced Tuesday that Biden's administration almost sent $50 million worth of rubbers to Gaza, which she called a preposterous waste of money. There is $50 million in taxpayer dollars that went out to the door to fund condoms in Gaza. By the way, do you know what they were using them for? If you said bombs, you were right. That's what they were using them for. Don't believe me? Here you go. Here's a video. They fill them with helium to float explosives over the border. Now, I don't know. I don't see any reservoir tips in those, so they must be sending them the cheap stuff. But here you go. They're taking domes, filling with helium, and putting things that go boom in there. A spokesman for Hamas stated, "We use any tactic that is effective, no matter how weird it sounds. Sheep are allergic to condoms anyway." The first time I read that, I was like, I thought that's what he actually said. A lot of infidels don't know this. Let them use them. Nothing better than it'll refresh your life. 50 million buys 1,300 condoms per person in Gaza.
Why impose this pause with so
so little notice? Why not give organizations more
They don't
time
need notice.
to plan for the fact that they are about to lose, in some cases, really crucial federal funding,
Name
at
one.
least for a period of time? There was notice. It was the executive order that the president signed. There's also a freeze on hiring, as you know, a regulatory freeze, and there's also a freeze on foreign aid. And this is, again, incredibly important to ensure that this administration is taking into consideration how hard the American people are working.
Yeah,
and
and
their
you're
tax
sending our
dollars
money there.
actually matter to this administration. You know, just during this pause, Doge and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order,
Withdrew
no longer
from.
wants the United States to be a part of. So that wouldn't be in line with the president's agenda. Doge and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That
$50 million. By the way, according to Grok, the number of condoms that 50 million can buy largely depends on the price. Bulk pricing. If they can be purchased in bulk, with bulk pricing at $15 per dome, 50 million can buy approximately 333 million domes. At a slightly higher bulk rate, you would get 167 million. If you got a wholesale price, you could get up to 2 billion domes. Hundreds of millions of domes. And again, of course, they are sending flaming domes over the wall. That's what they're using them for. And the government was funding it with your money. With your money. And the rest of the shutdown is absolutely bonkers. The fake news being spread by people like AOC and Chuck Schumer was at a full-throated force yesterday, speaking of domes. Here's Chuck Schumer, who puts his cheese on raw burgers on the grill. Funding for law enforcement now in danger thanks to Donald Trump. Actually, no. The executive order clearly says this order does not apply to military personnel of the armed forces or to positions related to immigration enforcement, national security, or public safety. They're trying to stir up panic. Here's AOC. Trump shut off Medicaid. He, in fact, did not. Of course, this post remains free of a community note. I wonder why that is. The White House is aware of the Medicaid website portal outage. We have confirmed that 0 payments have been affected. They are still being processed and sent. Down detectives reporting that the Medicaid care website crashed. The first report came in at 8:59 this morning.
Freeze with some exceptions for individual assistance, we understand, to federal grants. It's caused a lot of confusion around the country among Head Start providers, among providers services to homeless veterans, Medicaid providers, states saying they're having trouble accessing the portal. Could you help us clear up some of the confusion, give some certainty to folks, and also is that uncertainty, how does that uncertainty service the president's voters?
Well, I think there's only uncertainty in this room amongst the media. There's no
Correct.
uncertainty in this building. So let me provide the certainty and the clarity that all of you need. This is not a blanket pause on federal assistance and grant programs from the Trump administration. Individual assistance, that includes, I'm not naming everything that's included, but just to give you a few examples, Social Security benefits, Medicare benefits, food stamps, welfare benefits, assistance that is going directly to individuals will not be impacted by this pause.
Now, the media doesn't care. AOC says Trump shut off Medicaid, which is a lie. Here you have Chris Murphy. Trump's government shut down Medicaid, cancer research, elementary schools is cataclysmic. What? That's not happening. These people are just lying. Here's the official Democrats account. Trump's federal spending freeze could impact programs like WIC, which is food stamps, resulting in nearly 7 million women and children going hungry. Readers wanted to know that you need extra context. Payments to individuals, including supplementary nutrition programs, SNAP, Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women's, Infants, and Children, WIC, are not affected, the senior administration said. They know this because they answered this very question in a press conference, and they lied anyway. I mean, this is who the people are. Here's a woman in a $70 hoodie hyperventilating because, Trump thinks that they're going to end food stamps. Looks like they deleted their tweet. I mean, that is not going to happen. And furthermore, by the way, most people agree with everything that's happening. President Trump plans to downsize federal government. By the way, he issued an offer to buy out 2 million federal employees. A poll from Reuters/Ipsos found that Trump's proposal will be overseen by newly formed Department of Government Efficiency. Why it matters. The poll suggests that sweeping changes Trump is implementing in the opening days of his second term could hinder his approval ratings if they come to define his presidency. But they don't. Everybody agrees this. Kyle Kondik, an analyst for University of Virginia Center of Politics, says, well, it does seem Trump is getting a honeymoon to some extent. His numbers are still not impressive by historic standards. That's because the changes really haven't reached the everyday human yet. They will. And when they do, when the taxes come down and when spending goes down, and when more people have more money for things, when groceries come down, people will look favorably upon the decisions he's making. But it takes time. The government has asked Donald Trump about the price of eggs more time during his first 4 days than they did in the first 4 years of Joe Biden, in which eggs increased the price by nearly $70 million. 70%. Holy cow. Sorry. On top of that, the Biden administration authorized euthanization of, I think, 100 million chickens or some enormous amount of chickens. That's why the price of eggs is high. Joy Reid also having a meltdown over ICE, which is just the cherry on top of this video.
Show of its enforcement of mass deportations, literally, by conducting ICE raids across multiple Democratic-run cities with the cameras rolling. It follows Trump's performative signing of more than 300 executive orders, 21 of which aim to overhaul the immigration system. The reality show government went so far as to tell federal agents in immigration raids to be camera ready and brought none other than TV host Dr. Phil along for the ride, which is interesting given both the rise in MAGA immigration influencers they're seemingly endorsing and the fact that Dr. Phil has made a career out of exploiting vulnerable people for money.
Oh, my God. What are you doing, Joy Reid?
Deputy Attorney General Emile Beauvais, whose name you might recall since he was one of the defense lawyers in the New York hush money trial that made Trump a felon, demanded those raids over the weekend, calling them a
cope. I mean, good. They should be documenting it. They should be putting this out all over every major news feed so that people in Colombia and all these other countries stop coming. Speaking of stop coming, apparently the condoms also not available. Please, if you made it this far in the video, give my Quartercast live stream a chance. If you're a YouTube only viewer, I understand, but please go over and subscribe to Quartercast. It's linked in the description below. If you're open to supporting free speech and giving Rumble a try, even if you've tried it in the past, download the app, update your app, follow me over on Rumble, where you'll get uncensored videos and you'll be supporting free speech as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you just search up The Quartering on Rumble, you'll find me. And we'll talk to you again real soon.